We are not talking about simple productivity tips. We are unpacking the buyback principle, which is a radical, systematic approach to time management and scaling.
It promises to let entrepreneurs reclaim their actual lives, without having to sacrifice their business growth.
And this feels like a really necessary intervention.
It is. If you are a successful founder, you likely got there by adhering, religiously to what we call the hustle mentality, that relentless drive to get shit done.
Right, that's what gets you off the ground.
It's essential. That initial phase, maybe up to your first million in revenue, it absolutely demands that intensity. But our sources make an incredibly clear and honestly a somewhat terrifying argument. That very hard-driving mentality, the one that built your success, is precisely the thing that will lead to your personal and professional breakdown if you don't fundamentally change how you trade your time.
So the engine that gets you to the top of the mountain
Is guaranteed to burn out before you get to the other side.
Yeah. Okay, let's unpack this crisis by starting right at the origin of this whole philosophy. Because the biographical context for the creator of the buyback principle is, well, it's absolutely extreme.
It really is.
This isn't just theory derived from observing successful businesses. It comes from a deep, profound, almost spiritual understanding of chaos itself.
It provides the essential psychological foundation. We often think of entrepreneurs as these, type A personalities who crave control.
But the data suggests otherwise.
Totally. As our sources reveal, the author's youth was defined by chaos. We're talking shoplifting, getting bounced from group homes, being expelled from high school.
And then it all came to a head.
The climax.
The ultimate moment of zero control. Detail that moment for us. This is where the initial trajectory of his life really should have ended in tragedy.
It was a high-speed car chase with police. It ends when he crashes into the side of a stranger's house.
Wow.
And as the officers descended on the vehicle, he instinctively reached for a gun he carried in a duffel bag. Only for the weapon to jam.
Unbelievable.
The severity of that incident landed him a 6-month sentence in adult jail. This was the ultimate low point, a life completely defined by reactive, dangerous chaos.
That is a lifetime of trouble just compressed into one youth. But here's where the perspective shift starts, right?
Yes.
And it's where the sources suggest we can find the core of the buyback philosophy. The pivot happened in solitary confinement.
After almost 72 hours alone, completely isolated, a guard named Brian entered his cell.
And instead of the usual reprimands or aggression,
Brian simply asked, "Why are you here?" And then followed up with this profound statement: "You don't belong here."
So this guard, Brian, saw past the crime.
He saw the raw entrepreneurial traits, the immense risk-taking, the creativity, the raw energy, that comfort in uncertainty. But he recognized they were just completely misdirected.
That moment of recognition was crucial because it provided a glimpse of potential structure. His journey then continued in a therapeutic facility called Portage.
And that's where he found his true antidote: software programming.
Right. He stumbled upon an old computer and a Java programming book.
And he expected the content to be, these complex, intimidating equations, but he found something that read almost like plain English.
So he just typed in the commands from the first chapter, ran the program.
And saw those two iconic words flash on the screen: "Hello, world."
What's fascinating here is that the simple, predictable nature of code-reliable, repeatable results every single time was the perfect, profound counterpoint to a life that was just saturated in disorder.
It wasn't just a career path for him. It was a new psychological addiction. He traded his addiction to fighting fires for an addiction to creating reliable systems.
In entrepreneurship, fueled by this passion for predictability, it truly saved his life. It led to the creation of spheric technologies.
But here's the insidious twist.
The very systems he used to conquer external chaos led to internal chaos.
Exactly. He was growing the business 150% year over year, but only by operating within that destructive hustle mentality. He was trading his focus and time for growth, working these 15 to 18-hour days.
The business grew, but his life just imploded.
4 months before his wedding, his fiancée left him, dropped the ring on the counter. The message was crystal clear: if you want to spend your life with me, you actually have to spend time with me.
The business had become a jealous mistress. It demanded everything.
That success, built on the grind, led to a breakdown just as potent as his troubled youth.
So the core lesson we're taking into this deep dive is absolutely crystallized. Entrepreneurship might be the vehicle that saves your life and delivers that initial success.
But the grinding mechanism you need to start a business is precisely what will ruin your life if you don't fundamentally pivot and find a better way to work.
And that realization drove the quest for the buyback principle, a system designed to grow the company and simultaneously grow your personal time.
That's the mission. Scaling success without scaling suffering.
Moving into our first major section, we need to talk in vivid detail about the physical and mental cost of this get-shit-done grind, because most entrepreneurs, I think, don't realize they've hit the danger zone until their body just fails them.
Oh, absolutely. And our sources provide the perfect cautionary tale in the form of Stuart, a highly efficient entrepreneur.
Stuart is the ultimate example of the efficiency trap.
Totally. He didn't just work hard. He worked smartly on things he shouldn't have been touching at all. He operated under that deeply ingrained and often ego-driven belief.
If you want something done right, you must do it yourself.
That's the one.
So what were the specific tasks Stuart was clinging to?
I mean, everything. Because he was technically proficient in so many areas. He handled his own accounting because he took college accounting.
Okay.
He touched every piece of code because he was the chief engineer. He personally booked his own travel. He was running the business as the bookkeeper, chief engineer, project manager, head of fulfillment, head of support, and his own administrative assistant.
He was a level 1 trader running $1 million business.
So what did all that competence and efficiency get him? He was working, on average, 70-hour weeks, hitting 100-hour weeks when projects required it.
And it got him a collapse.
A total collapse.
Yeah.
After leading a massive back-end code re-architecture, he decided to take a much-needed 3-day vacation to Disneyland with his family.
10 minutes into the happiest place on earth.
He felt the dizziness, the chest tightness, the racing heart. He was having a major panic attack.
The irony is just brutal. The place designed for pure happiness became the setting for his physical and mental breakdown.
It just underscores the physical toll of the grind. He wasn't fine. When he returned home, the anxiety spiraled, culminating in months where he was essentially paralyzed in bed.
Couldn't even join a video call.
Couldn't focus on simple tasks. His body had fundamentally quit on him, teaching him that managing your energy and emotion is infinitely more important than managing a task list.
He hit what the source material defines as the pain line.
Exactly.
So define that critical point for us. It's more than just burnout, isn't it?
It is. It's the critical juncture where hard work stops yielding positive, enjoyable growth and starts causing profound personal, physical, and emotional pain.
The founder wakes up dreading the business that they once loved.
That's it. And the sources suggest this pain line often occurs right around the stage where a business crosses $1 million in revenue and the founder has about 12 direct reports.
Why are those metrics so specific? $1 million and 12 reports.
Well, because that combination represents the point where the organizational complexity just completely overwhelms the founder's capacity for transactional management. At $1 million, you have enough moving parts, vendors, clients, that your individual 24 hours are no longer enough.
And with 12 direct reports.
You spend nearly all your time on that exhausting cycle of transactional leadership, telling them what to do, checking their work, and telling them what to do next. You realize that growing bigger only means more personal suffering, more calendar stress, more emails, and less strategic thinking.
Growth becomes a threat, not a goal.
Right. And when an entrepreneur hits this pain line, they are looking for an escape hatch. The sources identify 3 destructive paths they typically choose to cope with this unsustainable pressure.
And that pressure manifests in self-destructive ways.
The first path is to sell. The pain is so acute, they just want out at any cost. This is the desperate exit.
Like the couple who grew their business to $6 million.
But they sold at a discount because they had lost their health and their marriage. They sell not on their terms, but out of absolute exhaustion and desperation.
They lose all passion and leave a significant amount of money on the table.
Then there's the second path, which is maybe the most dangerous because it's so subtle and self-inflicted. Sabotage.
Sabotage is the subconscious decision to ruin growth just to get back to a more comfortable, manageable state.
Like that $750,000 revenue level where they feel safe and capable. The founder consciously desires growth, yet every time they approach that pain line threshold, they throw a hand grenade.
This isn't malice.
No, it's self-protection.
So what does that sabotage look like in practice?
It looks like, urgency around unnecessary busy work. Suddenly declaring an overhaul of a perfectly functional website or rebranding the company right when a massive sales deal is pending.
Or the founder starts replacing key A players over small, manageable mistakes.
Purely to disrupt the team and slow momentum.
Yeah.
The biggest manifestation is dragging their feet on critical, high-level business decisions until the opportunity just slides by.
They rationalize it as strategic refinement.
But the root cause is a subconscious fear of the pain that comes with the next level of growth.
And the third path is stall.
Stalling is the conscious decision, and it's often wrapped in that comforting language of a lifestyle business. They say, I'd rather have a smaller, controllable company.
They stop pushing for growth because the current size already overwhelms their capacity.
But this choice is a slow-motion death sentence. The market evolves constantly. Competitors are growing. If you consciously decide not to evolve, customers leave. And critically, your high-performing A players who thrive on growth, they depart for companies that are moving forward. Stalling just guarantees a slow decline.
Okay, so we've identified the pain line and the coping mechanisms, but what is the deepest psychological root cause of the founder getting stuck in the grind in the first place?
It connects directly back to that chaos in the author's youth.
It's the phenomenon known as chaos addiction.
It is. Our sources cite data suggesting that about 9 out of 10 successful entrepreneurs have experienced some form of early childhood adversity or a chaotic upbringing. Steve Blank, the famous Silicon Valley professor, talks about the dysfunctional family theory of entrepreneurship.
Which sounds like a profound advantage at first. It equips them with unique skills.
The initial advantage is massive. These individuals are extremely comfortable operating in uncertainty. They're risk takers, creative problem solvers. They possess a superhuman ability to handle stress.
But that comfort turns into an addiction. Calm feels strange. Predictability feels boring.
Precisely. So when the business finally runs smoothly, the founder feels inwardly anxious.
They start creating problems to put out. They toss those hand grenades we talked about.
It confirms their deepest ego-driven belief that they are the essential hero who must constantly save the day. They mistake the sound of fire alarms for the sound of productivity.
And the sources are emphatic. You have to recognize and treat this addiction to chaos before any system can truly work.
The story of Taylor perfectly illustrates this. His business was running smoothly, adhering to the buyback principle.
And what was his reaction to peace?
His reaction was to text his coach, announcing an unplanned 6-week vacation, adding this cryptic note, "We'll see if my team can handle it."
The coach's one-word response was telling.
And grenade. Taylor realized his true subconscious goal was to create a vacuum, hoping for a disaster that would force him back into that essential firefighter role. The moment of peace was the trigger for him to create chaos.
Recognizing that tendency is the first, most difficult step toward implementing the solution. This leads us directly to Section 2. Diagnosing where our time is actually going. We need clear, objective tools to break the cycle of chaos addiction and map a path past the pain line.
And the first major conceptual tool is the DRIVE matrix.
The DMP matrix is the fundamental lens through which you must view every single task you perform.
It helps you categorize activities based on 2 continuums that should dictate your actions. Energy. Does the task suck your energy or does it light you up?
And money. Does the task make you little money or lots of money for the business?
Let's walk through those 4 resulting quadrants, starting with the worst place to be, the place where all the pain lives.
The delegation quadrant.
The delegation quadrant is where tasks make you low money and simultaneously suck low energy. These are the tasks you call quick wins, but you secretly hate doing.
They are essential but transactional.
Checking general admin emails, driving to the office for minor reasons, scheduling appointments, chasing receipts. If you are living in chaos and despair, you are spending 60 to 70% of your time here.
So the core principle is that these tasks must be the absolute first things to be identified and immediately transferred or ruthlessly eliminated.
Absolutely. Then we have the quadrant where the skilled, competent founder gets perpetually stuck, precisely because they're good at the tasks.
The replacement quadrant.
This quadrant is tricky because it's seductive. The replacement quadrant involves tasks that generate high money but still suck low energy. They're valuable, they're necessary for the business, and the founder is often technically proficient at them.
But they drain the founder's time and energy, preventing them from focusing on truly high-leverage activities.
Let's use the story of Andre, the manufacturing company owner, to illustrate the trap here.
Okay.
Andre was spending 80% of his working week doing computer-aided drafting, or CAD. This is essential, high-dollar work for a manufacturer. He was good at it, he had the technical skills.
But he admitted it was draining him.
And it was a transactional input that required his time, but didn't leverage his true strategic genius. His coach pointed out that he didn't need to hire a high-level, expensive operations manager to solve his time crunch. He needed a less expensive, competent CAD designer to simply replace that task.
Which would buy back 80% of his time immediately?
So the key insight here is the painful truth that just because you are competent and highly skilled at something doesn't mean it belongs in your calendar.
Not if you want to scale.
Right. Your skill set should serve your highest energy and highest financial reward. Which brings us to the aspirational quadrant.
The production quadrant, the genius zone.
This is it. Tasks here provide high money and immense high energy. This is where your unique, innate talents are applied, where time flies by, and where the marketplace rewards you exponentially.
Contrast Andre, who was skilled but drained, with someone like Oprah Winfrey.
Perfect example. Early in her career, she did traditional news reporting, which felt exploitative and drained her energy, even though it was high money.
The moment she shifted to the talk show format,
Where she could connect deeply with people, utilize her genuine empathy, and shine a light on human interest stories, everything just exploded.
so she replaced a high money, low energy task, the news reporting, which is in the replacement quadrant.
With a high money, high energy task, talk show hosting, squarely in the production quadrant.
Exactly. She focused her time entirely on what lit her up and where her unique talents provided the greatest return.
The buyback principle is fundamentally about moving your time, energy, and focus entirely into this production quadrant.
And finally, there's the quadrant that builds the future, the investment quadrant.
The investment quadrant is where tasks are low money today but provide high energy.
These are activities that are personally fulfilling and energizing, but they don't produce immediate revenue. Think giving a TED Talk, co-authoring a book, engaging in industry collaborations, or deep personal and leadership development.
These tasks are crucial because they build future value.
They position you as an industry expert, and they keep the founder's motivational battery charged. You constantly want to deposit time here building tomorrow's production tasks.
So once you understand the DRP matrix, the necessary next step is gathering cold, hard data on your life and mapping it onto the quadrants. You do that using the time and energy audit. This is the practical 2-week exercise that provides the necessary clarity to overcome that chaos addiction.
The audit is a ruthless 4-step process for gaining objective truth about where your life force is actually being spent.
You cannot manage what you don't measure.
Step 1. Determine your buyback rate. Let's make the math conversational, because the formula can sound a little intimidating.
The philosophical reason for this step is that delegation happens in tiny 15-minute chunks. A quick email, a sudden request, a minor administrative task. We need to know what a fleeting interruption actually costs you.
So you take the total amount the company pays you, divide it by the total hours worked per year, about 2,000.
And then you divide that hourly rate by 4 to get the per quarter hour rate.
And that quarter-hour rate is the buyback rate. Why is that calculation so vital for decision-making?
Because it's the affordability question. If your buyback rate is, say, $25 and you spend 15 minutes checking email, it just costs the company $25.
If you calculate that you spend, say, $1,500 a week on low-value tasks, you can immediately justify hiring an administrative assistant at $20 an hour.
It moves the decision from an emotional hurdle, I can't afford help, to an economic necessity, I can't afford not to have help.
Step 2. Audit 15-minute intervals for 2 full weeks.
This is the execution phase. You have to document every single quarter hour for 2 full weeks. 8.000, 8.15, reviewed social media analytics. 8.15, 8.30, email client follow-up. This relentless documentation is key.
Because a single week might be skewed by a major interruption.
2 full weeks provides a true, unvarnished snapshot of your reality.
Step 3. Assign dollar amounts.
You go back through those 2 weeks and assign $1 to $4 signs to each task. $1 sign might be a $10 an hour task delegation quadrant work. $4 signs represent tasks worth over $500 an hour production quadrant work.
It forces you to confront the financial valuation of every single activity in your day.
Is responding to a simple email truly a $500 an hour task? Almost certainly not.
And step 4, highlight red or green. This is the energy component that connects back to the DRP matrix.
Use a red highlighter for every task that drained you, made you procrastinate, or caused anxiety. You use green for everything that gave you energy that you loved doing, where time just flew by.
And when you look at the final document, you have a visual representation of the truth.
Where your low-dollar, low-energy red tasks intersect. This creates a crystal-clear, prioritized hit list for delegation and replacement.
The audit helps visualize the evolution required of the entrepreneur. Our sources outline 3 levels of traders that mark the necessary mindset shift when it comes to time and money.
This is the philosophy of scaling. The level 1 trader is the employee. They trade time for money. They're paid based on their input hours, and their tasks are largely in the delegation or replacement quadrants.
Then the level 2 trader is the entrepreneur. That's the crucial leap away from the grind.
The level 2 trader trades money for time. They hire people to literally buy back their own time, realizing that the only way to shift focus to higher value activities is to pay someone else to handle the necessary lower value tasks.
They understand that money is abundant, but time is finite.
They must pay to get out of the red zones.
And the ultimate goal for the founder is the level 3 trader, the empire builder.
The level 3 trader achieves a state of flow. They trade money for more money and more time. They have built a machine that runs without them, allowing them to focus entirely on high-leverage investments and dreaming up new opportunities, investment quadrant tasks.
The goal is to reach the state of Richard Branson, who, despite owning hundreds of companies, manages to spend only about 2 hours a day on traditional business matters.
He achieved total flow by systematically buying back his time and redepositing it into high-value, high-energy activities.
That brings us to Section 3, the implementation phase. We've audited the time, we've identified the financial and energy pain points. Now, how do we systematically buy back that time?
It all starts with the continuous nature of the buyback loop.
The buyback loop is the engine of sustained scaling, and it must be constant.
It's a 3-part cycle. Audit your time relentlessly, transfer the low-value, high-pain tasks, and fill the resulting free time with high-value, high-energy work in the production quadrant.
The key insight is that this never stops.
Never. As your business grows, what used to be a production task may become a replacement task, demanding another immediate transfer.
And the specific systematic mechanism for organized transfer is the replacement ladder. This isn't just a basic org chart, it's a structured 5-rung path for scaling up systematically.
And it starts with the area that gives the founder the most time back for the least investment.
We have to internalize the core rule before we climb, though.
Don't hire to grow your business. Hire to buy back your time. The founder is always the customer of the first hire.
Run 1, admin. This is where most people feel completely stuck in the delegation quadrant.
The key hire here is the administrative assistant, the AA or executive assistant. Their sole ownership is protecting the founder's focus time by managing the inbox and the calendar.
Without this protection, the founder is constantly subject to interruptions. The dreaded, got a second, or the constant ping of administrative emails.
Activities that cost far more than the buyback rate.
The AA acts as a crucial filter, a protective barrier. Richard Branson's assistant, Hannah, is the perfect example.
Yes. She provided the necessary gentle block and tackle for everyone trying to pull Branson into their chaos. This person must be exceptional at anticipating needs and creating systems.
And the founder must be willing to give up the perceived control over their inbox.
How exactly does the founder maintain trust and control when handing over something as sensitive and high volume as their inbox? This is a huge psychological hurdle for many Type A entrepreneurs.
It requires implementing a non-negotiable system like the email GPS system. The firm rule is, I am no longer ever allowed to touch an email that wasn't first checked and filtered by my assistant.
The assistant doesn't reply as the founder. They filter, organize, and summarize.
Walk us through those key folders.
The system uses specific numerical labels in the inbox so the founder can trust the process. Number 1 is grain, your name, reserved exclusively for mission-critical items requiring the founder's unique, high-level response.
Like massive client contracts, high-dollar legal decisions.
Exactly. Then there's 1 respond, 2 review, 3 responded, and so on. It's a systemic organization for non-urgent tracking or elimination.
What happens when the assistant screens an urgent email at 10 p.m.? How do we ensure they don't become a bottleneck themselves?
That's where the definition of done, which we'll cover soon, and the clear sync meeting agenda come in. The assistant is trained to know the boundary. Do I act immediately, or can this wait until the 8 a.m. sync? If the founder provides high-level outcomes and the $50 magic pill allowance, the AA can resolve minor issues autonomously.
The system's success relies on consistency and the founder's trust that the AA will only escalate items that fall into that folder. Okay, moving to rung 2. Delivery, which addresses the feeling of being stalled because the founder is drowning in implementation details.
The key hire is the head of delivery or customer support. Their ownership is onboarding, fulfillment, and ongoing support.
This is an emotionally difficult transfer because the core product or service is often the founder's baby.
The thing they excel at and love doing, like Miguel, the real estate software entrepreneur.
Right. He was drowning in technical support tickets. He loved the product, but he realized that the transactional nature of troubleshooting was pulling him away from writing the next version of the software.
So he hired someone way more empathetic, which not only freed him up for high-value growth tasks, but ironically also improved customer service because the new hire was just better suited for the empathetic nature of support.
What if the founder still wants to maintain their magical touch on the actual delivery, like Walt Disney voicing Mickey Mouse?
They employ the 10-80-10 rule. The founder handles the initial 10%, the ideation, setting the compass. The team executes the middle 80%, the labor and implementation.
And the founder returns for the final 10%, the integration, the magical touch, the quality control.
This allows the founder to maximize their unique, irreplaceable talents while delegating the repetitive, labor-intensive middle.
We were going to skip marketing, but given the depth of this dive, we really have to address rung 3, marketing.
You absolutely cannot skip marketing. This is where many founders stall the longest, often right after delegating admin. Rung 3's key hire is the marketing manager.
And their ownership is clear: content distribution, analytics, and SEO.
The founder must accept that they cannot be the sole creator of all content, even if they have the best voice.
So what should the founder retain versus what should they transfer immediately?
The founder retains the high-level voice and core messaging. That's production quadrant work. But they must transfer the mechanics of distribution, optimization, and measurement, which are replacement tasks.
Posting 10 times a day on social media.
Replacement. Tracking conversion rates and adjusting SEO keywords. Replacement. Writing the quarterly strategic message that defines the brand. That's production. By transferring the mechanics, the founder buys back 70% of their time to focus on that core 30% messaging.
Moving to rung 4, sales, where the founder finally begins to feel true freedom.
This is the most difficult psychological transfer because, invariably, the founder is the best salesperson. They have the passion, the history, the intimate product knowledge.
The key hire is the sales representative, and their ownership is calls, follow-up, and closing deals.
But this is where we need to introduce friction. Wait, 80% fantastic is great, but isn't a founder obligated to pursue 100%? If I accept less efficiency, am I really scaling effectively?
That is the ego talking, and it is the single biggest impediment to scaling. Yes, you are obligated to pursue scale, but the 80% rule must be internalized. 80% done by someone else is 100% freaking awesome.
If you insist on 100% perfection that only you can deliver, you scale your work, not your company.
But practically, why does the 80% rule work economically?
The author's anecdote proves it. He hired Michael, a sales rep, assuming Michael would be half as effective as he was. Instead, Michael managed more calls, utilized his time better, and outsold the founder.
Wow.
But even if Michael were only 80% as good, the founder just bought back 40 hours a week. Those 40 hours are now spent on high-level production and investment tasks worth $500 an hour.
The gain from the founder's high-leverage work vastly outweighs any perceived efficiency loss in sales.
You trade competence for capacity, and capacity always wins in the long run.
All of this systematic delegation relies entirely on creating repeatable, standardized systems, the playbooks.
How do we create the machine that builds the machine without spending hundreds of hours writing out tedious instructions?
You need to stop relying on implicit knowledge. The genius Ray Kroc found in the McDonald brothers wasn't just fast burgers, it was the speedy service system. The process was so replicable that anyone, anywhere, could be inserted and produce the exact same outcome.
Playbooks provide those replicable processes for your business.
And the secret sauce for efficient documentation is the camcorder method.
It's the most time-efficient method because the founder doesn't do the documentation work. The founder simply films themselves completing the task they want to transfer. They record the screen, record the process, no fancy production needed.
The new hire then watches the video and documents the process into 3 core parts. Of course, the knowledge transfer, cadence, the frequency of the task, and checklists, the granular steps.
That's brilliant because it serves a dual purpose: documentation and training.
It ensures comprehension. The new hire has to articulate the steps, which helps identify missing details that the founder unconsciously skipped.
And crucially, it shifts the focus away from blaming the person. If an error occurs later, you know the checklist needs updating, not the person needs firing. This saves massive time and turnover costs, ensuring that 80% or more of the process happens exactly as desired.
Now we're in section 4, moving beyond systems and into the realm of tactical efficiency and cultural change. These are the tools that maximize the effectiveness of the people we just hired.
The source material outlines the only 4 time hacks you need. These are simple, actionable tools that fundamentally empower your team and stop the founder from being the bottleneck in every decision.
Let's start with hack 1, the $50 magic pill.
You give every team member a small financial allowance, $50, $500, or $5,000 for executives, to solve problems without needing direct permission from the founder.
The power isn't in the amount, it's in the principle of empowerment.
If a customer is upset, the frontline staffer can immediately comp a service or send a gift basket without a 3-day email chain for approval. If the accountant needs a piece of software that costs $99, they buy it and move on.
This creates bumpers for employees, fostering immediate action and eliminating the daily bottlenecks that waste the CEO's time on trivial financial approvals.
Hack 2. Sync meetings with repeat agenda. We already discussed the importance of the AA, but this hack institutionalizes the cloning of the founder's decision-making process.
Consistency is king.
The author and his assistant meet for 30 minutes every other day, following the exact same structured agenda. This relentless repetition allows the assistant to quickly learn the founder's thinking, making them autonomous.
So, for instance, the agenda includes
Offload, where the founder verbally transfers new to-dos. Calendar review, past meetings review. Emails, where the assistant links the few filtered emails requiring founder attention. And questions for context, like, what recurring problems are keeping you up at night?
The genius is that the consistency allows the items in the emails and questions sections to diminish over time.
Because the AA can now confidently handle them proactively.
Hack 3 is the definition of done, DOD, which is the antidote to the universal entrepreneur complaint. No one ever does it right.
A DOD eliminates ambiguity by requiring clear, measurable outcomes, facts, feelings, and functionality for every request before the task begins.
Take the simple request, please buy a whiteboard for my office.
If that's the instruction, the assistant might bring a whiteboard that's still in the box or one without markers. The founder gets frustrated, wastes time on rework, and the assistant feels demoralized.
But the explicit DOD changes the dynamic completely.
The DOD is, this task is done when the whiteboard is hanging on the wall in my office. There are 4 colored markers, red, green, blue, and black, magnetically attached, and a dry erase eraser is handy.
This forces clarity on the front end, leading to happiness on the back end.
And it eliminates the time wasted on rework or micromanagement. It's a tool for emotional regulation as much as time efficiency.
Finally, hack 4, the 1.3.1 rule designed to combat upward delegation. This is where the founder really has to sacrifice control and ego.
This is a powerful, non-negotiable rule for problem solving. Before staff can ask the founder for help, they must follow the structure. 1. Define the singular problem. 3. Offer 3 viable solutions. And 1. Give their single recommendation.
Let's analyze the psychological hurdle here. The founder is naturally the fastest problem solver.
But every time they solve the problem for their staff, they're essentially carrying other people's monkeys.
Exactly. The monkey is that next step of responsibility. If a staffer comes to you saying, this system broke, and you reply, okay, I'll fix it, that monkey just jumped from their back onto yours.
The 1.3.1 rule forces the problem-solving capability down the hierarchy. The founder is no longer the solution provider. They become the coach who simply validates the employee's chosen recommendation. It's a huge shift from solving to teaching.
That sacrifice of being the super guy with all the answers is essential for the final major shift, moving from transactional management to transformational leadership.
Transactional management is that tell check next cycle. You hit the ceiling of complexity around 12 direct reports because you're spending all your time telling people what to do and checking how they did it. You create dependency.
Transformational leadership replaces this dependency with a 3-step cycle: outcome, measure, and coach.
Step 1. Outcome over instruction. This is the most crucial shift. The leader stops telling people how to execute a task and only dictates what needs to be achieved.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs famously said, we hire smart people so they can tell us what to do.
That seems like a minor shift in wording, but the implication for empowerment is huge.
It transfers the entire responsibility for the solution onto the team member. If the founder says, Bethany, please spell check blog posts, the founder owns the process.
But if the founder says, Bethany, the blog post must always be error-free,
Bethany is empowered.